Merhaba arkadaşlar, ben Deniz Yıldırım. Bugün arkadaşlar Blacksad Under The Skin oyununa devam ediyoruz arkadaşlar. Continue deyip devam ediyoruz. Kaldığımız yerden arkadaşlar. Umarım bugün de çok eğlenceli geçer. Bakalım en son arkadaşlar belirli şeyler bulmuştuk. Bakalım bu sefer neler bulacağız. Evet, buradaydık en son. Şimdi arkadaşlar eee, bir şey yapmamız lazım, bir telefon görüşmesi yapmamız lazım. Hemen şuradan. Bir saniye, burada değil. Neredeydi o ya? Bir saniye hemen bulacağım arkadaşlar. Evet. İşte burası arkadaşlar. Buradan konuşma yapmamız lazım. Şefi aramamız lazım. Şefin ofisinde.
Smirnoff.
You're gonna like what I have to tell you about the Dunn case.
That is it.
I think that's it.
Bir saniye arkadaşlar.
Smirnoff.
I think I have a new lead on the Dunn case. I went to Yale's place and ran into O'Leary's men. They were waiting for him.
Ah, well, it's only normal. They run an illegal gambling operation. If a fight's canceled, they lose money. I'd love to take a swing at O'Leary, but we can't base the case on a hunch.
I'm not finished yet. I think I have a new lead on the Dunn case. Dunn and the gym's cleaning lady were about to get married.
Great. Call What's News. They'll know what to do with such an incredibly interesting piece of information.
The combination on Dunn's safe was her birthday. He even gave her a ring. You know, your typical suicidal bliss.
Okay, I'm still not convinced, but I might have something for you.
Evet arkadaşlar, Dan'la buluşmaya gidiyoruz.
Life is often off key, like a bad song. The notes come together but feel flat, unable to create anything resembling music.
Evet, geliyor Dan.
And yet, there are ways to string them together to create harmony. Ways that are not always entirely in our hands.
You look tired, John.
I was born tired. I'm used to it.
You're not the only one. Yep, I'm beat. I'm starving. Just got back from the annual police medical. Not only did I have to fast, but I also had to chug 2 enormous glasses of water. John, you all right?
I'm always all right.
Yep, that's the problem with us men. The thing is, I'd love to help you out with this case, but I can't. You know I work for the state of New York. If I had any information, I couldn't share it with a private eye. Even if it was lying on top of this table.
Masadakini.
You said you were starving. Why don't you go to the counter and order something?
Yeah, sure, good idea. If you'll excuse me.
Başka şeyler bulduk arkadaşlar. Başka yeni ipuçları bulduk.
Interesting.
Enteresan. Evet, bunları hepsini beynimize yazıyoruz arkadaşlar. Yeni kanıtları.
Now that I think of it, I better eat at home. It's healthier.
Thanks.
Truth is, John, it all seemed clear to me before, but now? Please, promise me you won't take the law into your own hands. I'd like to think we're not just vigilantes.
I'll try, but sometimes there's no alternative.
All right. In any case, keep me posted, will you?
Sure, you can count on it.
Take care, John.
As always, Smirnov had given me new, potentially relevant information. Not to mention second thoughts. When an old dog like him gets that serious, one must be prepared to bite.
Fotoğrafı düşünüyorum arkadaşlar. Evet. Yine bu ipuçlara göre şöyle iyice bakalım. Neyse bunu burada arkadaşlar. Birazcık daha başka işler yapmamız lazım. İçeriye girelim arkadaşlar.
You see, I've got this friend. He's a journalist, and the thing is, well, he would like to interview you.
Why?
A woman running a boxing gym? That's quite the story.
And how did this friend of yours find out, exactly?
Well, you know how these things...
I don't even want to hear you. I just hope you prove your professional worth before the day is over.
I never asked about the gym's insurance.
That's exactly what I'm reading now. So far, it looks like your standard small business policy.
I think I know who had your mother's ring.
You do?
Mary Purnell. I think she manipulated your father in order to marry him.
Thank you.
Şöyle bir inceleyelim.
Big, bright eyes. Looks well rested. Either she didn't mourn her father, or she really knows how to work that makeup. Big, bright eyes. Looks well rested. Either she didn't mourn her father, or she really knows how to work that makeup. Did you find anything interesting in those papers?
No. Investigation work takes time, as I'm sure you know.
Şöyle bir düşünelim arkadaşlar. Seçim. Tamam. Bir saniye. Yok, bu da değil. Bu da değil ya. Yanlış seçtim. Tamam. Pardon, o değildi ya. Sonunda. Yok. Evet, bu olması lazım.
I'm much taller than Dunn, and I can barely reach the noose. There's no way Dunn hanged himself. Not on his own, at least.
Bir daha düşünelim. Bu değil bu. Evet. Bunlar bu. Bu. Olması lazım. Evet bu.
Bobby Yale. I don't know if you had a motive to kill Dunn, but you certainly had the murder weapon.
İki kez daha düşün. Evet.
Christ. Did Yale kill Dunn just because he wanted to call off the fight?
I always knew Bobby had issues. But I never thought he'd go that far.
I couldn't say. In my line of work, you really shouldn't jump to conclusions.
But the chest expander, the box in his locker, the marks on my father's neck. It all leads to him. In any case, that doesn't change a thing.
It does, actually. Now we know he didn't kill himself.
My father's still dead, and you still haven't found Bobby Yale. Nothing has changed. Opening the safe and finding my father's will won't help us achieve anything. So please hurry. Time's wasting.
Sonia's indifference never ceased to amaze me.
Evet,
But most
arkadaşlar,
importantly,
yavaş yavaş buluyoruz.
Why was she so opposed to Yale?
Kimin öldürdüğünü de yavaş yavaş buluyoruz.
John Blacksad? I think I owe you an apology.
Do I know you? I don't seem to remember your face.
Well, maybe you remember my boys. I'm so sorry they wrinkled your suit. The thing is, they didn't know we shared a common goal. Bobby Yale. I want to find him and get to the bottom of this as much as you do, Mr. Blacksad. So please, kindly accept my invitation. Why not share our findings? Come on.
I'm afraid I have to say no. I can't ride in a fancy car with a wrinkled suit.
Oh, I don't see why not. In any case, if those little wrinkles make you uncomfortable... I always play it nice and safe.
Bizi vuracaklarmış. Köpekler.
Thank you, Blacksad. You won't regret this. So let's cut to the chase. I need Bobby Yale to fight Stone. There's just too much money at stake. So, I'm offering you my help to find Yale. Let's work together.
I always work alone.
You know, if everyone worked solo, many people would suffer. Look at me. I could go it alone. But I don't. Please, hear me out. Let's say I bet a beer that we find Yale in 3 days, and you bet a beer that we don't. In 3 days, one of us has to buy the other a beer. Is that so bad? We're simply 2 grown men using our money and free will to conduct a small private exchange. And most importantly, we're not hurting anyone. So, yeah, I run a gambling business. What's so bad about that?
I can't really say.
Well, I can. Nothing. But I'll tell you what is wrong. The way our government is ruining America. We live in a so-called free country. A place where honest people can make a living, provided they don't hurt anybody. We're not communists. Well, at least I'm not.
I would have never thought otherwise. As for me, with all due respect, it's none of your business.
Ooh, all right. Never mind then. In any case, that's not my point. The government betrays our nation's values by passing communist laws that forbid an honest man like me to make a living without hurting a soul. And that, Mr. Blacksad, is just wrong. I'd even say it's unconstitutional. Do you get my point now?
Gambling is also immoral.
Did you hear anything I just said? Anyway, when the government passes these laws, there's only one legitimate weapon the people can wield. The same weapon that turned America into a great nation. Civil disobedience. So, as the proud American that I am, it's my duty to disobey.
Sure, but there's no room for your ways in civil disobedience.
My ways? Oh, I know what you're getting at. But what's past is past. I wasn't always a boss, you know. No, sir. I started at the bottom, when Lucky Blitzen ran the show. That good for nothing. His was a reign of terror, extortion, violence, you know, that sort of unpleasant thing. When I took over, I decided I'd make people want to do my bidding. Not out of fear, but out of gratitude. I decided to help people so they would help me.
That beating your thugs gave me was really helpful. Thank you so much.
Those poor bastards didn't even know you were a detective, that you were on our side.
Maybe at first. But when they tied me up and beat the socks off me, they knew very well who I was.
Seriously? That goes against my rules. Who was it?
Yeah, the 2 of them.
Bastards. But don't you worry. I'll have a talk with those 2. I cannot tolerate this behavior. Please accept my apologies, Mr. Blacksad. You see, a lot of people work for me. Many families depend on my business. Not only that, St. Christopher's Hospice practically lives on my donations. The widows of my late employees are set for life. Their kids get free schooling. The cops leave me alone because they know my business doesn't hurt anyone. On the contrary. And, it looks like we're here.
Yale's apartment?
I told you I'm on your side. Go ahead, search the place. I'll wait down here. When you're done, maybe you'll change your mind and share your findings with me. Or not. It's your call, Mr. Blacksad. I'll make sure you're suitably compensated. Colbert! Wilson!
Bakalım.
The worst thing about O'Leary's boys dropping by isn't the beating, but the fact that I can't tell what's theirs and what's Yale's. Doesn't seem like the best food for a boxer. Then again, it could be your classic bookie thug lunch. Judging by the general state of the apartment, they were leading a quiet life. Judging by the general state of the apartment, they were leading a quiet life.
Odaya da bakalım. Odada ne var? Odada bir resim var.
Seems like Bobby inherited something more than boxing skills from his father, besides the tendency to vanish into thin air, of course. So, you like your mob stories, don't you, Bobby? Why would you want such a big closet for so few clothes? Unless you're a bachelor, that is.
Hiç unutmuyorum ya. Neyse. Devam edeceğiz arkadaşlar. Yeni kanıtlar buluyoruz. Yeni eşyalar buluyoruz.
Copy 1 of 3. Do you know any of his relatives?
Is his father Avenarius?
Avenarius? The boxer poet? Didn't he disappear 20 years ago?
Evet, yeni kanıtlar.
I'm not sure how Yale's love of pickles will help me crack the case, but it's good to know.
Evet, doğru.
A woman's fragrance. Almost angelical.
Deftere yazıyoruz arkadaşlar bunlar. Düşünelim. Ne oldu? Bir tane daha var. 50 bölüm olmadı. Bence böyle arkadaşlar. Şöyle. kabul etmiyor. Rahat. Verin. Rahat. Verin. Rahat. Verin. Rahat. Verin. Evet. Neyse biraz düşünelim arkadaşlar. Bakalım burada neymiş. Bu üçü eğleniyor arkadaşlar. Şimdi bir daha düşünelim. Evet. Bravo. Evet. Mantıklı.
That means she's been here recently. But why? What does Sweet Mary have to do with Yale, the murder suspect? Judging by the general state of the apartment, they were leading a quiet life.
Bir daha bakalım. Düşünelim. Mary. Gelelim arkadaşlar.
When I left, I told O'Leary I hadn't found a thing. The minute I was alone, I left for Mary's. But before all that, I took a small parting gift for her.
Evet, ben yine evine geldim arkadaşlar.
I've never trusted angels.
Mr. Blacksad? What a...
Surprise?
Sürpriz.
When they fall, they turn into demons.
Joey told me he was going to spend the afternoon painting the gym and that Bobby would be fixing something up on the roof. So, after I found the body and called the police, I went to Bobby's place, but he wasn't there.
So you knew that Yale was with Dunn when he died, and yet you told no one.
I guess I just forgot. Everything is so confusing. I'm sorry, Mr. Blacksad.
Don't be. I'm here to figure it all out. What's your relationship with Bobby Yale?
He was like a son to Joey, and we were about to get married, so, you know.
Okay, I think it's time to set things straight. I think you and Bobby Yale conspired to kill Dunn.
No! How can you even think of something like that?
How can you convince me otherwise? I found a picture at Yale's apartment. It's you and him on a roller coaster. Care to explain, Miss Purnell?
I'm not white, Mr. Blacksad.
What?
7 of my great-grandparents were white. The 8th was black. According to law, I'm a black citizen, even if my skin says the contrary. Do you know what that means when you're born in North Arlington, Alabama?
Segregated schools and a worse education for colored children.
We even have different water fountains, for God's sake. The separate but equal doctrine and all that.
That crap.
And all the lies. That's why I moved here. No one knows what color my great-grandparents were.
I'm black too, and I don't hide it.
Well, at least you're a man.
In any case, what's that have to do with Bobby Yale?
He's my nephew, Mr. Blacksad. Joe and I first started taking care of poor Bobby when my sister died. That was when he was almost 15. The 3 of us went on that trip to Luna Park.
So this is where Joe Dunn comes in.
Bobby was the only one who knew about me and Joey. We were afraid that someone would use my past to ruin his career.
It's not the first time I hear that story. I'm sorry I accused you so lightly.
Don't worry, I understand.
Hemen şöyle bir bakalım.
TV and radio all in one. Where will these mad times lead us? Mary smells like... Actually, the whole room smells like a pie fresh out of the oven, so I can't identify any other fragrances. Fresh out of the oven. The whole room smells like pie.
Başka neler varmış? Yeni kanatlar. Biraz da konuşalım.
Are you sure you don't know where your nephew is?
I've looked everywhere. He's nowhere to be found.
Don't worry. I'll find him.
Thank you.
About Sonia Dunn and the ring. Well, I told her about you and Joe Dunn. I had no choice.
And what did she say?
I don't think she took it too well, but she might come to understand it.
Maybe. But I'm not so sure you'll be able to keep my other secret safe.
Your secret is safe with me.
I'd like to believe you.
That cherry pie smells so good. I'm starting to get hungry.
Thanks. I pulled it out of the oven right before you arrived. Oh, where are my manners? I'm the worst hostess in the world.
Bize yemek mi ısmarlayacak?
Let me go get a knife from the kitchen. And you must be thirsty. Let me see. OJ, coffee?
Kahve al.
I'll take some coffee, thanks. Feels good to stretch out now and then.
Yakalandık mı? Güzel. Yemeğimizi yiyelim. Ve kahve içelim.
I couldn't help but notice a queen-size bed in the room.
You what?
Sorry. I had to make sure Bobby Yale wasn't hiding in there.
Oh, yeah, sure. Joey bought this place. It was going to be our home after the wedding. I left my apartment and moved in so I could save some money.
If he had left his own apartment and moved in, you could have saved twice the money.
I'm no hooker, Mr. Blacksad.
You should open a bakery and sell these pies.
Thanks. Joey used to say the same thing.
Hemen şöyle bir üstüne bakalım.
Now that there's almost no pie left, the scent has also disappeared. Interesting. Now Mary smells like a huge dog. Mary, when are you going to stop lying? I know your nephew is here. I can smell him.
What? No. I already told you I don't know where he is.
Stop playing around and tell me. Where is he?
You can search the whole house if you want. Go ahead. He's not here.
Look, if he's making you do this, just tell me. I'll protect you.
Bobby would never do that.
If he's not here right now, he must have left shortly before I got here. Where did he go?
Shortly before you got here? I wish.
Wait a minute. She's not the one who smells like that.
Şuralarda bir şeyler vardı. Evet, yaklaştım. Buldum.
That's where Bobby Yale's scent is coming from. So, that's why you were sitting there.
What? I don't know what you're talking about.
Yes, you do. Could you step aside so I can check, please?
Please go.
Mary, for Christ's sake, put that knife down, would you?
Leave or I'll...
Bize bıçak çekti. İlginç.
You know I could take that knife from you if I wanted to, Mary.
I mean it.
I don't want to hurt you.
Leave her alone!
Köpek çıktı.
Bobby! I mean it.
I don't want to hurt you.
Leave her alone!
Bobby! I mean it.
I don't want to hurt you.
Leave her alone!
Bobby! I mean it.
I don't want to hurt you.
Leave her alone!
Bobby!
Ne yapacağım? Hemen bulmam lazım. Dedik. D'ye bas. Bir şey bulmam lazım yerden. Ha, buldum. Allah'ım. Bizi kapıda öldü. Ne ben Abi ne yapacağız? Amcık karısını.
Call an ambulance. Do as I say. Go on, call an ambulance. Do it now. In the face of a heart attack, there's two things you can't forget. One, stay calm. Two, 1 chest compression per second. 1 Mississippi. 2 Mississippi. 3 Mississippi. 4 Mississippi. 5 Mississippi. 6 Mississippi.
Adamı kaybettik.
1 Mississippi. 2 Mississippi. 3 Mississippi. 4 Mississippi. 5 Mississippi. 6 Mississippi. 7 Mississippi.
Bobby. Oh, Bobby. Thank you, Bobby. Bobby. Thank you.
I had lots of reasons to consider this a great day. I had investigated a suicide case. I had discovered that, in truth, we were dealing with a murder. I had found and captured the prime suspect. And I had saved a life.
Ambulans verebiliriz.
And yet, everything in me screamed that something was going wrong. Terribly wrong.
Promise me you won't take the law into your own hands. I'd like to think we're not just vigilantes.
I want a gun.
What the hell?
Bang, bang, bang.
Ambulans dedik.
A fair amount of violence, extortion, and casualties. I hate detectives.
Bang, bang, bang!
You're dead meat, cat.
That you, Smirnoff?
You seem agitated. Nightmare?
Yeah, I have a lot of those.
Yeah, that makes two of us. Anyway, why don't you go home? In his current condition, Yale's not going anywhere. Besides, we'll take it from here.
Thanks, but that won't be necessary. I can watch Yale on my own.
No doubt. I just saw exactly how vigilant you always are. As for what happened yesterday, I asked you not to get involved, or at least give me a heads up.
If I hadn't intervened, Bobby Yale could be dead.
If you had warned me, maybe we could have avoided a heart attack. Anyway, what's done is done. When exactly did you realize that he killed Dunn? Out of sheer curiosity. I'm a cop after all.
As soon as I realized that the murder weapon belonged to him.
How about the motive? Any ideas?
I've got several theories, but that's about it.
In any case, hopefully Yale will tell us more.
Would you let me ask him some questions when he wakes up?
I know you will, with or without my permission, so I'd rather not feel betrayed. In exchange, drop by the station when you can. Your investigation could really help my men. Who, by the way, must be waiting for me to interrogate Mary Purnell. Boy, she was hard to pry from Yale's side.
She's been through a lot in the past days. Be nice to her.
Of course. In spite of it all, we're not just vigilantes. And as for you, go get some rest. God knows you need it.
You think sleeping will cure this?
Tell the nurses to look at that face of yours. You look like a film detective in his last scene.
I'm afraid this film isn't over yet.
For your sake, I hope you're wrong. You're in charge now, officer.
Okay.
I'll send you relief in 6 hours. Understood?
Doctor,
Who are... Oh, detective. Congratulations. You fared pretty well against that kid. Better than most would have. Now, if you'll excuse me...
well, I always land on my feet.
Doktorun neyle bakacağız?
We, as a society, simply don't trust reptiles. But that's not the real problem. The real problem is our extended belief that there's logic to that distrust, that it's natural and well-founded. We, as a society, simply don't trust reptiles. But that's not the real problem. The real problem is our extended belief that there's logic to that distrust, that it's natural and well-founded. We, as a society, simply don't trust reptiles. But that's not the real problem. The real problem is our extended belief that there's logic to that distrust, that it's natural and well-founded.
Doktor Palmer. İsmini de öğrendim.
How's Yale? Is he awake?
Oh, yeah. Go check on him before he falls asleep again. Although, try not to bother him with too many questions.
Will this have long-term effects on his health?
It's too soon to tell. He did have a heart attack after all.
Doktoru da öğrendik arkadaşlar.
Go away. I don't want to see you. The doctor told me to sleep.
Biz adını burada yatıyor.
I rarely get to interrogate a suspect with his guard down in a place as quiet as this. Getting the chance to study his body language with no distractions is a rare gift. His heart rate is increasing. It could mean that he's lying, but it could also just be pure, unadulterated rage. He's clenching his fist, a sign of contained anger. He's looking straight at me. If he couldn't hold my stare, I'd think he's lying. But that's not the case. Clenched fist, fast heart rate, fixed stare. He feels some genuine rage towards me. I'm sorry you don't want to see me, but I'm afraid you'll just have to put up with me.
For now. Luckily, I just got my medication. I'll be snoozing soon.
All right, I'll just cut to the chase. Why did you kill Joe Dunn?
What? Are you trying to confuse me? Joe hanged himself.
Kim öldürdü?
Dunn was too short to hang himself with that rope.
So, it's true? He was murdered.
I know Dunn threatened to call off the fight. Why?
How do you know that?
I'm a detective.
That was his anger talking. He never really meant it.
That doesn't matter. Why was he so mad at you? What did you do?
Nothing. Joe thought that I wasn't training hard enough. That I was going to lose.
All right. Let's just say that I believe you. The murderer killed Dunn with a chest expander and planted evidence to make us believe it was suicide. But he also left enough clues behind to make sure we found the true murder weapon. Then he put the chest expander box in your locker to frame you. Do you know anyone that twisted and who also happens to have a motive?
I don't know.
Maybe it was... What am I saying? Jake could never pull off something like that. Nothing. Never mind. What about Sonia Dunn?
Sonia? I doubt it. She's odd, but she's his daughter.
I've seen worse, believe me. What about Frank Cassidy? Do you think he has a motive?
Maybe. A few weeks ago, Joe took me to a boxing managers association meeting.
Headed by Cassidy.
Yeah. He was obsessed with making it illegal for boxers to fight without a manager, or without an associated manager. Everyone seemed to go along with it until Joe spoke up. He said that would lower us to mob status. that Cassidy had founded the association just to make money by monopolizing the sport. That made others think twice. And Cassidy ended up empty-handed.
Poor Cassidy. Desmond O'Leary certainly seems twisted enough. Did he have anything against Dunn?
I'm not sure if they knew each other. At least not in person. About a month ago, Joe kicked one of O'Leary's men out of the gym. He was trying to give a business card to...
Jake Ostiami.
Yeah, exactly. Did Jake tell you about that?
Something like that.
Blacksad. I think I owe you an, You know, my father disappeared when I was 6, right after winning a fight. We never heard from him again. Do you know what that does to a kid? Who knows where I'd be if Joe Dunn hadn't been in my life. Even when I lost my way and put a gun to his head years later, he still took me under his wing and managed to steer me in the right direction. And now that he's gone, you're risking your life to find his murderer. Thanks.
Thank you for...
Hemen oğlum. Şunlar neymiş ya? Merak. Neyse. Arkadaşlar bir bölümün daha sonuna geldik. Umarım siz bu bölümü beğenmişsiniz. Ben çok beğendim arkadaşlar. Aksiyonlu macera geçiyor. Bir sonraki bölümde görüşmek üzere arkadaşlar. Herkes dikkat edin kendine.